You're in a dark movie theater, surrounded by the glow of the screen, halfway through an all-night horror marathon. At first, you were fully engaged. You scoffed at the dumb characters making terrible decisions. Psst, I totally survived these. Just don't go into the basement, don't split up, and definitely don't say, "Who's there?" when you hear a noise. But you've been watching horror movies for hours and your eyes are heavy. The jump scares are losing their edge, and the buttery popcorn has turned into a stomachache. You lean back in your seat, just resting your eyes for a second. You black out. When your eyes snap back open, you're not in the theater anymore. You're in a beat-up car, baking like a rotisserie chicken, rolling down the most suspicious back road in Texas. You think to yourself, not again. You look around because maybe you're with competent people this time. Nope, it's a group of idiots. One guy is singing along to the radio, someone in the back just said they need to pee, and worst of all, the driver is slowing down. Why? Because some absolute genius just spotted a hitchhiker on the side of the road. That's when it hits you. You know this scenario. You're in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Stopping for this hitchhiker is your death sentence, which means this is your first chance to survive. Fake a medical emergency. Maybe shout something about explosive diarrhea. Not even a psycho is getting in that car. But no, your idiot friends open the door and in hops the grimiest, most tetanus-infected man you've ever seen. What's the fastest way to get him out of the car? Match his energy. You see him giggle and pull out a straight razor, you start laughing harder. Stare him in the eyes and whisper, "I also like sharp objects." If you can out-weird this weirdo, there's a small chance he panics and bails first. But because no one listens to you, he stays long enough to slice his own hand open, like a magic trick, snap a few Polaroids of you, like you're a fresh meat inventory, and, for the grand finale, smears his blood all over the car like he's leaving a 1-star Yelp review in DNA. Of course, this isn't the only problem you'll have today, because now the car won't start. Your last shot at survival is simple. Stay put. Lock the doors, sit tight, maybe pretend to be on an urgent business call. "Yeah, boss, just left my meeting with the FBI. Yep, tracking a serial killer. Heavily armed." But no, one of your future missing persons case friends points at a creepy farmhouse in the distance and goes, "Hey, let's go ask them for help." What help are you expecting? A warm welcome? A mechanic on standby? A friendly grandpa offering sweet tea and biscuits? Yeah, anyway, this is the last crossroad before your death, which means you need an excuse to not go in that house. So you suddenly shout, "Oh my god, I left the oven on!" Someone points out that you don't even own an oven. If that doesn't work, then you go with plan B. Take a deep breath, nod solemnly, and announce, "I just remembered, I have jury duty tomorrow." Now this is crucial. Act disappointed. Sigh deeply. You're just as bummed out as they are that you can't check out the cannibal house. But hey, civic duty calls. The group doesn't seem to care, and you apparently have no self-preservation instincts. You follow the group into the house. Inside the house is exactly what you feared. The walls are covered in mystery stains. The furniture looks like it was built out of previous visitors. And then you hear, Oh, fantastic. That's a chainsaw. The front door slams open, and there he is, Leatherface. This man is built like a walk-in freezer, wearing a mask made from someone else's face, holding a chainsaw that has absolutely never been used for yard work. The second he charges, you could scream, "The IRS is outside!" There's no way anyone in this house has ever filed a tax return. The fear of government paperwork might actually send him running. But before you can even scream, you realize you're about to become part of a DIY human skin curtains project. Your survival time? Maybe 10 minutes, if you were clever enough to not go in the house. Suddenly, you wake up in a cold sweat on your couch. Everything was a dream. You must have fallen asleep watching TV, except this isn't your couch. The fabric is torn, stained with something you really hope is just old pizza sauce, and the room is dimly lit by a single flickering lamp. You sit up. The TV in front of you buzzes with static, the faint sound of whispers bleeding through the screen. Looks like you forgot to pay your cable subscription again. Then the TV shifts. The static clears. A well appears on the screen. A single black-haired figure slowly crawls out of it. Her movements jerky, unnatural, like she just got hit with a Windows XP lag spike. Your stomach drops. Oh no, you know what this thing is. The Ring. Your brain immediately starts problem solving. Alright, no big deal, right? You just watched a cursed tape, so technically you've got 7 whole days before things go south. That's a whole week to come up with a plan. Move to another country, or at least clear your browser history. But let's try to find a loophole. Okay, so this curse kills you in 7 days. But what happens if you never stop watching the tape? If the video is still playing, does it reset the timer? Big brain move. Grab the remote, hit rewind, and loop that thing forever. But before you can even test your 4D chess theory, your phone rings and you know it's not your mom calling to see how you're doing. You yeet that thing across the room so hard it might have just traveled back in time. You already know who's on the other end. Some creepy breathing, maybe some cryptic whisper like, 7 days. And bam, you're on the ghost hit list. Except the ringing doesn't stop. Your TV flickers again. The girl is closer now. Okay, so maybe you don't have 7 days. Maybe, just maybe, you're about 7 seconds away from being dragged into the afterlife by a vengeful supernatural murder child. You back away from the screen as the girl starts climbing out. First her hands, then her dripping, stringy, wet hair, then her face. Wait, pause. How do you even die in this situation? Nobody ever explains it. Does she strangle you, rip out your soul, just stand there while you collapse from pure existential terror? You don't want to find out. The new plan is simple, brute force it. She's just a kid, right? You can probably fight her. You grab the nearest heavy object, which unfortunately happens to be a soggy couch cushion, and chuck it at her face. She doesn't flinch, and you've now stained her shirt. Okay, new plan. If she kills people who watch the tape, then what happens if you make her watch the tape? Does she haunt herself? Does she explode? Probably nothing, so instead you can try distraction tactics. You grab the TV remote and start flipping channels mid-haunting. Cartoon Network, no effect. Cooking channel, she doesn't seem interested. QVC home shopping, she pauses. You sprint toward the door, heart hammering, but of course, it's locked. Why is it always locked? Who designs houses in horror movies? Doorknob manufacturers with a grudge? Your survival time should have been 7 days, but it looks like you're about to speed run this curse. New plan, jump out the window. It's probably a better end than whatever is waiting for you once that little girl gives you a hug. You shatter the glass and roll out onto the street. No time to think, you are running like a marathonian who just pooped his pants mid-run. You have to keep going no matter what. While you're running, you can't help but wonder, what would people like to see me try to survive next? I hope they write it down in the comments. Hopefully this time, it'll be a luxurious hotel in the Caribbean. You've been thinking for too long and only now realize the air here is thick, hot, suffocating, like a sauna. Except of eucalyptus and bad decisions, it smells like rust, sweat, and childhood trauma. Steam hisses from old pipes, casting disfigured shadows on the cracked walls. You take a cautious step forward, and the floor groans under your weight. This place feels wrong. That's when you see it, a sign at the corner, Elm Street. You wish so bad to have dyslexia, so you could have read Elmo Street and remain hopeful. But now you hear it, a low scraping sound, like knives on a chalkboard, or that one guy in your apartment complex who insists on dragging his metal chair across the floor at 3 a.m. But this means one thing, you're dreaming. Now, you could try to pinch yourself, slap your own face, even try to wake up by thinking about something aggressively mundane, like tax returns or waiting in line at the DMV. But of course, this isn't working. No waking up, no teleporting back to the theater. You're stuck, like at a family dinner that just won't end. You spin around, and there he is. Fedora that screams, "M'lady," striped sweater that makes him look like a rejected Waldo, and those razor-sharp claws, making you wish you were in Edward Scissorhands right now. "Welcome to primetime, kid," he grins, tilting his head. This is his world, his rules. Running, pointless. Fighting, nope. You could do something no one has ever done before, like rolling your eyes and saying something like, "Oh wow, a creepy boiler room, real original." What's next? A spooky fog? A child's laughter echoing in the distance? Maybe some flickering lights? Come on, man, you've been using the same gimmick since the 80s. But you realize taunting Freddy might not be the best option. How about flattering his ego by telling him that you think he's better than Edward Scissorhands and Wolverine? You could also try to fall asleep and try to pull a dreamception and wake up inside your own dream, effectively confusing Freddy so hard that he rage quits your subconscious. This is your best option so far. You drop to the floor, fake snoring so loud even cartoon characters would be impressed, hoping the dream logic gets so broken that you loop back into consciousness. But you don't get time to complete your scheme. Freddy lunges at you, claws flashing, laughter echoing. You wake up in the theater in a high-pitched scream. Everybody is looking at you. You just spilled popcorn all over yourself and on the floor. Everyone is laughing, and your date left in a hurry after seeing such a red flag. So now you know the truth. You would not survive a horror movie, and that's okay. Most people wouldn't. But if you did somehow make it through, tell us in the comments which horror movie would you survive and how. And while you're here, do the one thing that actually will keep you alive: subscribe to the channel. Because unlike the Necronomicon, this button won't curse you. Probably.